Good morning and welcome to the interview with the Kern Veterans Oral History Project. Can you please state your first and last name and spell it, please?
My first name is James, James. McAdams is my last name. Capital M, small c, capital ADAMS.
Can you please state your birthday?
I was joking out there and I told her it was 4/30/12. No, it's 4/30/26.
What war did you serve in?
Second World War.
What branch of service were you in?
Navy.
What was your highest rank?
I was Seaman First Class.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
I enlisted.
Why did you enlist?
All the guys in our seniors in high school, a lot of them were leaving early and joining the service, and the war was on, and I couldn't wait to go. You know, I said I wanted to be patriotic. I just had to get in there, and so I enlisted after my 18th birthday, and I didn't finish high school, but I got my high school diploma for serving overseas for a while. So I was due to graduate in June of '44, but I left in May. So I did, but I got my diploma later.
Where were you living when you enlisted?
I was living in Burlingame, which is a city south of San Francisco, 16 miles.
Do you recall the first days of your service?
Do I remember them?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You mean going or there, or like boot camp, or?
Yeah, like boot camp training, just setting up.
Yeah, I took my boot training at Farragut, Idaho, because anybody in Northern California, if you enlisted up there or you were in the Navy, you went to Farragut, Idaho. From down here in this area, if you were enlisted, you went to San Diego. But anyway, I went to Camp Hill in Farragut, Idaho, and I spent 6 weeks there in boot camp.
Do you have any bad experiences that you had to get through during training?
Well, the only bad experience was I had taken up smoking, which was a bad habit at 18. And we had to go out of the dorm down into what we call the bullpen to smoke. So anyway, that was the only bad experience I had.
Do you remember any of your instructors?
No. That was quite a while ago. In fact, it's hard to remember shipmates.
Oh, wow. Do you remember where exactly you went as you started?
From boot camp, I went to outgoing unit, which I was stationed at Treasure Island, which is right at San Francisco. It's the island between Oakland and you know where it is. Mm-hmm. And I went to gunnery school at Point Montero to learn how to shoot 40 millimeter guns and 5-inch guns. Mm-hmm. And that was what I did there. And waiting for my ship to be commissioned, my ship was going to be leaving for overseas, but it was being built in Richmond. Mm-hmm. And so it was commissioned, and we went aboard that in March, I think. Let's see, no, January, yeah, December of '44. So that was my experiences in the States, and then I went overseas.
As you were aboard, did you see any kind of combat?
Yes.
What kind?
I was in the, let's see, we were going to the invasion of Okinawa, but before they invaded Okinawa, they had to invade some islands that were southwest of Okinawa called the Kuramaretto. Mm-hmm. And this was a week before they invaded Okinawa. And we had troops on board that we were taking to disembark, and landing boats. My ship had landing boats on it that we put troops in them, and they went into the beach. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, we had to secure Kuramaretto, and we came under attack by we were kind of in a harbor there, and we came under attack at night with by Japanese boats that were loaded with explosives. So we couldn't stay there at night, so we went out to sea. And one evening out to sea, we got under attack by what they call kamikaze planes.
Yeah.
So those are Japanese suicide planes, and the ship in front of us got hit. A plane went down on her bow. She didn't sink, and then our ship, well, we shot down three Bettys, which are twin-engine bombers. They look like a B-26,
Okay.
if you know what they look like.
Yeah.
And then we had several evenings that we had to go to general quarters, but that was really the main attack that we had. And then a week later, we went into Okinawa, and we were actually we had to participate in a fake invasion of the southern part of Okinawa. In other words, it was a feint. Some of the ships went down there to pretend they were landing troops at the south end, so the Japanese would go down there and try to fend off the attack. So we were in that, and we got under shell fire from the beach from some 155 guns then. And basically that was, and we were there a couple weeks and had air raids at night. And that was basically all of my action in the war.
Were you aware of any casualties aboard your ship?
We had one, but it wasn't due to
Combat.
combat. No, we were lucky that we did have planes that came in at us, and we were able to shoot them down. So basically, we lucked out.
Did you get injured at all?
No.
Were you awarded any kind of medals or citations?
The only citation we got was Asiatic Pacific Theater ribbon with a combat star. That's there were some presidential citations given, not on our ship, but there were several ships that got presidential citations. A lot of the destroyers were sunk out there at Okinawa. So basically, that was my service in action in the war.
To go back to your life on the board, aboard the ship, what kind of food were you served? Was there a best meal that you was in love with?
Was there a best what?
A best meal that you really liked while you were aboard ship?
No, all of them were not good. We had several names for them, but some of the food, which I won't repeat. But when you're at sea, you have stores of food and so on. But when you run low, then the meal doesn't get to be as good as it is earlier in the voyage. You know.
Did you stay in touch with your family?
Yeah, I at that during the war we weren't allowed to say where we were going or what we were doing, and I was being real brilliant, you know, because I was just like a senior in high school when I got in the service, and our first trip was from Seattle to Hawaii, and we went to Pearl Harbor, and I wrote my dad and mom a letter, and I said my records of Glenn Miller, I said put them away, especially my record of String of Pearls, and so they knew where I was.
That's cool.
That was just one letter I wrote.
While you're aboard ship, did you feel any kind of stress or pressure?
See any stress?
Did you feel any stress or pressure?
Any? Just a few times, yes. And do you mean during attacks or
Anytime.
under combat?
Anytime while you were aboard.
I felt, oh sure, yeah, I felt stress. I don't know exactly what you mean. Being in the service, I loved the guys, you know, and when you're young like that, your stress is not, it's not really stressful, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain that, but
Was there something special you did for good luck?
something special, what?
That you did for good luck?
I did pray one time, and I always, I was religious growing up, but when things get bad for you, you turn to your God. If you're a Christian, you always do. So I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know whether I answered that question right.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, did you and your friends entertain yourselves, like, if you needed to be entertained?
Yeah, we every Sunday we had what we call a happy hour, and it it lasted more than an hour, and it was boxing matches that we had up on the hatches. We'd up on the cargo hatch, and we'd put ropes around it, and we had just a regular ring, and we had weight divisions, and we had boxing matches, which entertained the guys, and it was kind of fun.
Did you go in one of the games? Or
No,
into a boxing match?
no,
I'm
I
sorry?
wouldn't do that.
You didn't want to?
Huh?
You didn't want to?
No. They had some good fighters on that ship. I didn't want to get my head knocked off.
Going along to entertain yourself, did you or your friends pull pranks on each other?
I'm trying to think. Well, I can't. I just can't think of any that come to mind right now. It's a long time ago.
Were you able to go on leave?
Was I able to what?
Were you able to go on leave, like if you went into port?
Yeah. When between boot camp and going to gunnery school and also going on Treasure Island, I was only 20 miles from home, and I got liberty to go home. I also got a 10-day leave when I finished boot camp to go home.
What did you do when you went on leave?
What did I do when I was on leave?
Yeah.
Oh, I hung out with some of the guys that I went to school with that they hadn't got in yet, a lot of them, and we partied, you know.
To go on after the service, do you remember what day your service ended and what you were doing?
I remember the day I enlisted, but I don't remember the day my service ended. I'm thinking it was like around May 9th or so. It was just a little over 2 years I was in.
Did you know that it was going to end, like everything was just slowing down?
The war?
Yeah.
That's a funny thing. I have a story about that. The international date line, when one day goes to the next, it's in the Pacific, and we were crossing it when the Japanese surrendered. So August 14th of 1945, and we crossed the international we were on one side of the date line, and we celebrated, and we fired guns and shot off tracer bullets and stuff like that, and everybody hoorayed, and we were really happy it was over. And then the next day we got to do it again.
As you arrived home, did you see any family, or were they there to greet you as you was getting off ship?
Well, Yeah, I got to see my family. We on one of our trips, we had one trip home when we brought some troops from Guam after the war. They were going to be discharged. They were B-29 pilots and crewmen from the ones that bombed Japan before the war ended. And we brought them home, and then I got Liberty then.
How did you feel when you saw your family after that long?
Oh, I was glad to see him. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I had a brother and a sister, and mom and dad, but my dad had worked for Standard Oil, which is Chevron now, and he worked in San Francisco, and he was transferred while I was gone. He was transferred to Bakersfield during the war. So when I got out of the service, I came to Bakersfield, and so that was where my connection started here, was when my dad was transferred down. So when I got out of the service, I came here.
What did you do in the days and weeks after you left the service to get back into just family and relaxed mode?
Well, basically I got out in May and didn't spend too much time with the family because I was trying to catch up on 2 years. And you do that with your buddies, and of course I didn't know anybody here, but there were a lot of friends that you meet later in the bars and so on. And so we then I did go to junior college in September. So all I had was the summer before I started school.
You mentioned you made a couple of friends aboard ship. Did you keep in contact with them after the service?
Just one, a fellow named Jerry Gavin, and Jerry joined the Highway Patrol, and he was here in Bakersfield. I believe he got to be a captain, and I was best man at his wedding.
Do you still keep in contact with him now?
Well, he's gone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's all right. No, we kind of drifted apart because he went into the Highway Patrol, and he had gotten married, and I wasn't married, and so no, I didn't keep in touch like I should have probably.
Is there any memorable experiences that you'd like to share about your service?
Well, I've just about shared all of it. I can't think of much else.
Is there anything else you'd like to add that I haven't covered?
No, you've done pretty well.
What ship were you on?
I was on the Montrose, USS Montrose, and it's APA 212, which is an attack transport. We have the landing boats. We had 14 landing boats and 2 LCMs. An LCM is a landing craft mechanized. It's larger than an LCVP. The LCVP is for landing craft vehicle personnel, and it held 35 troops that we put them in the landing boat and go into the beach, drive them into the beach. And the LCMs, they held tanks and cannons and artillery and stuff like that. So basically that's what I did.
Did you shoot some of the artillery?
What?
Did you shoot some of the artillery?
No.
You didn't?
No, the artillery was for the Army.
Oh.
No, the troops that were landing on the beach. Yeah.
Well, I think you covered all the questions fine. And
Yeah. You asked about did I shoot the artillery.
Yeah.
When I went to gunnery school, I had to shoot a 40 millimeter cannon and also what they call a 5-inch 38, which is 5 inches, 38 millimeters in diameter. It's a shell about that big around and about that long. But anyway, I learned how to shoot that. And my battle stations on board ship was a rangefinder operator. So if we had a target like say another ship, and we were firing at something out there, I had to get the range through this. Well, it was kind of a. Well, I don't know how to explain it, but you look through these things and it gave you the yardage to the target.
No, so you calculated.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that was my job. So, other than that,
Well, you covered all the questions fine. It's honored to talk to you.
well, thank you, Vanessa.
You're welcome.
Did I take up enough time?
I think so.
You did very well.
Huh?
You did very well. Thank you.
Some of the questions I couldn't answer too well, but
No, it was good. I think you were more dangerous than the weapons, being a rangefinder.
yeah, probably. Well,
You need help?
nope. Got it.